right, welcome once again to the beatzillapdx official show. I am your host, beatzillapdx official, and this is a news break. And we are talking about a non-FBA woman gets it wrong. I believe this woman is Nigerian, just based on the appearance. And she has a message talking about how FBA is being divisive and we're trying to separate ourselves from Africa, and separate ourselves from our ancestral home and what everybody else has done to it. I guess is insinuating that the ills of Africa are also our issues and our problems, to which it is not, because we are focused on our issues here at home, to where we are and where we are from, where our most recent ancestors are from, that we can identify, and we cannot identify a history going all the way back to ancient Africa. What we can do is identify a current history or more recent history of Moorish rulership over in Europe and here in America. It's a long ways to make it all the way back to the continent, but you know, if we started there, it would make more sense. But this conversation never begins there. It always stays in the same exact place it is, to where we need to be now, all of a sudden looking to the African brothers and sisters of the diaspora, and somehow we need to be putting a lot of, I guess, focus and time and everything else, energy into the plight of Nigerians or Africans, which, let's remember and be clear, there's a lot of Africans right now that simply do not get along with each other. So to look at us and act like, well, what's wrong with y'all? No, that's a situation where we're very clear. Even in on the continent, there's tribal beefs and tribal rifts and all of that going on. So to act like we have, we have any kind of investment in that, or we're different somehow by way of delineation, that's insane, really, when you think about it, because we should be able to delineate without anybody feeling any kind of way, because we've been our own group this long, when you think about it. But I don't know, I guess obviously people don't think about it as much as they probably should. But with that being said, let's hear what the Nigerian woman has to say to foundational Black Americans, and I'll chime in, here and there. But let's hear what she has to say.
A lot of this whole foundational Black American movement is just white supremacy wrapped in a Black power fist. It is. Your need to see America as the epicenter of society is wrapped in white supremacy.
Well, and that right there in itself is a lie. We don't look at anything wrapped in the system of white supremacy when our ancestors are the main contributors to what we are and how we are now and claiming. Again, we have a hand. That's our culture and our ancestors that are the influence of America around the world. So this is how you know these people are tethers, because they'll come around us and they'll start immediately giving credit to white society for how America is viewed around the world. And that's insane. There's not a bunch of people walking around the planet with Pendletons, cowboy hats on, and cowboy boots with chewing tobacco in their jaw. That's not the look that goes out around the world of America. No, it is way more of an urban thing, meaning the culture part of America, meaning us, foundational Black Americans. Again, the music that you see all over the world, the music in your homeland that is now a copy rendition of American music. That's us. It's not steeped in white supremacy at all, because it's literally foundational Black American culture produced things that you're referring to. But anyway, let's hear more of your delusion.
Fueled by white supremacy.
It's not.
Even after everything that this country has done to us, you still perceive America as being the greatest place on the planet because of white supremacy.
Now, when you say us, Does that mean the continent of Africa? Or are you saying a flat blackness, everything that America has done to us, and you still don't see white supremacy? We're the only people on the planet to fight white supremacy, man. What are you talking about? You're in America. Because foundational black Americans fought white supremacy. You're in America. Your family's here in America because foundational black American freedmen fought white supremacy for you to be here. These people are grossly delusional.
You see other places as being subpar because of white supremacy.
No. See how she's trying to do that? You see other places as subpar because of white supremacy. Ma'am, you saw your homeland as subpar. Your family saw your homeland subpar based on what your view or perception of white supremacy was. Don't look to us because you fled your homeland. You fled your homeland because you felt that this land was better than your homeland. This is where we are from. Naturally, ma'am. We're tied to this country. The foundation of it. We're different on that situation. So to sit up here and say that we should not have pride in our own home, although it has a historic, tumultuous tragedy and all, a past tied to it. Here's the point. With all of that has went on, you still found it better to leave the continent and come here while screaming white supremacy the whole way. And you gonna try to tell us something about what our ancestors built? The fact of the matter is, ma'am, we didn't flee. Y'all did.
Reject Africa because of white supremacy. There is so much deeply embedded grief and shame and fear that is connected to our ancestral home.
No. See, again, you don't sit up here and get the chance to shame foundational black Americans freemen to say you reject Africa. And the reason why we rejected it is because it's so much shame and all of this attached to it. No. You fled. So don't project your feeling of your homeland being less than on us and say we're following into some mindset of white supremacy. That's total BS, ma'am. You are projecting your own state of mind. And you're fixated on what white supremacy looks like to you, because you will not find a foundational black American talking like this about white supremacy. You sound like you're obsessed with white people. And you sound like you are grossly obsessed with being accepted by white folks. But so to still stay around and have the benefit of being around white people, you have to now project some kind of false ideal on foundational black Americans because we are hollering, fire up the jet. And so what do you have to do? You gotta lie. No, ma'am. You are grossly mistaken. But let's hear some more.
It is connected to the way that we have been treated because of that ancestral home. That we have all...
No. You don't get a chance to tie yourselves into our plight with the white man. Oh, well, no, we're all treated because of our ancestral home. No, that it has nothing to do... Ma'am, you have to go back to Europe to start getting into this conversation. You can't jump over... There was no white man in Africa that was being ruled. But when you go to Europe and you talk about the Moors who are the foundation of this land, there's your connection. So again, I don't understand why every time we hear these Pan-Africans and these tethers coming around us, they always neglect the connection between us and the Moors who ruled in Europe and then ended up in America. Like, you have all of this documented history of telling you this, but nonetheless, here we go with this Well, African ancestral homeland. Okay, well, they wasn't worried about that when they were in Europe, ruling Europe. All them buildings over there. That's Moorish architecture in Venice. That's why they call all those arches. Those are Moorish arches. Those arched windows and all of that. That comes from the Moors. That's ruling the hell out of Europe if you can't tell. So why don't we ever talk about that? That's some cold rulership. And so why would the white man have such a beef with Africa if these Moors was ruling their homeland? Don't you think they would have more of a beef with them? I think if that was the case, the first opportunity you got, you'd be trying to put them folks in slavery, wouldn't you? Makes sense now, doesn't it?
Oh, but decided that we're just going to act like it didn't happen. Of course, we know that there were black people all over this planet at the beginning of colonization. There were black people everywhere. So yes, there were black people who already were on this continent.
Do you hear what she just said? See, she keeps putting little things in there that she think we relate to. Ma'am, when you throw in all these things were going on during the time of colonization, we are the one group on the planet that cannot relate. We are not colonized. That's the one thing you just can't understand. The different. We are different there, ma'am.
But you can't seriously believe that every single one of us were from this country. You're completely ignoring history. You're choosing to ignore science. You're going to ignore DNA.
We're going to ignore DNA? They've already told you that DNA stuff was BS. You was just giving rights to the patents of your DNA to the Mormons. That was that hustle. So now they can clone you. And you can't do nothing about it. See, that was the Henrietta Lacks thing. So just in case you have super genes coming out of Negroes, they don't have to pay you nothing because you went ahead and did your little DNA test and signed a waiver over for the patent and copyright to your DNA to the Mormons. Good going.
To try to prove some point. And I don't know what the point is, because this is my thing. Let's say that what you're saying is true. What would be the motive? What would be the motive of lying about saying that all of our DNA traces back to a black woman from the continent?
Well, number one, it's not a motive of lying to say that all of our DNA. If that's the case, then again, ma'am, you need to go talk to the white man. Why is the white man denying his tie to Africa? Shouldn't the white man, like the Rothschilds and the all these groups, the Bilderbergers and the Brocks and all of them, shouldn't they be going and supporting their African roots? What about Queen Elizabeth and King Charles now? Man, they need to embrace their African roots now, don't they? Because everybody on the planet comes from this one woman in Africa, right? In the logic, I mean, Kim Jong-un over there, boy, he needs to get over there to Africa and pay some homage, don't he? I mean, what the hell do you guys keep trying to push on us? Ma'am, you is not going to be able to get in here and put your money and put your hands on something, okay? We understand what this is about. And this is why this is the whole tie thing. Like, hey, see, once we started talking about just simply fighting for us and no one else, this is what's happening. And we're talking about reparations, and we could see, oh, wow, you guys can affect an election. And now they really have to seriously talk about reparations. And not only that, you did it with putting the most anti-black party known in recent history in power and still forcing reparations to be the conversation. And it ain't going away based on who's in office, because it was always based off the people. And that is getting back to what America is supposed to be. One thing now is we speak for ourselves versus having a bunch of nobody tethers coming and standing in place of black empowerment just to empower themselves. And so this is what this woman is arguing. How do I get over on black America hustle while being a melanated immigrant? And it's drying up. So what she's saying, what would be the reason? The reason is you were tethering and undermining. That would be the reason for this lie in connection that we're all one big family. We're not. If you want to push that on us, push it on everyone. So don't act like foundational Black Americans are uniquely different than any other group on the planet, because they all get a chance to identify in their lane. Why do we have to be family with you?
I just don't get it. You are so susceptible to euphoria. Whatever gives you a little high, you're going to buy it. You're going to eat it up. We lack the ability to hold uncomfortable emotions.
What?
So anything that we believe alleviates that for us, we buy it. It does not serve us to dissect the diaspora. And I get it. A lot of these people are anti-Black, so get rid of them. But to generalize everybody and say that, no, we're not doing that, it's just Black Americans only. How the fuck does that serve us?
Wow.
It's almost like y'all don't know what we up against. Think about a string cheese. Every time you see a loose...
Ma'am, we are the only people on the planet who know what we up against. That's why we're the only people getting results right now. You got a whole continent over there, and y'all got people just ransacking, doing whatever they will over there. We're over here as a quote unquote the minority, most definitely the minority in power. And we still getting more done. We can get more done on the internet than you people can do on land with weapons in your hand. Don't look to us as we're the problem. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with your people? Why can't you fight for something? Why are you looking for us to be your security guards? We're not. And for too long, we have been your security blanket. When something goes wrong, you just get to curl back up in blackness. But then when you do something right, you're the first Nigerian Black, or the first Nigerian woman to do this, or the first Nigerian woman to do that. And now they're starting to look at these Nigerian doctors and nurses for this scamming they've been running. Oh yeah, look at what they doing to us, and no, there ain't none of that. And on top of that, we don't know nothing about being colonized. That's y'all. And the colonized mind is over there trying to throw white supremacy in foundational Black Americans' faces. Ma'am, I think you must have missed our spaces from a few years ago. But one thing that we can tell you is when you come with that argument, you have immediately failed. We can only teach you about the system of white supremacy. You have no clue of it. And your gross projections on what you are putting on foundational Black Americans proves it. You have no clue. Have no clue. But it tells us a lot about what you actually really are, how you really get down, to be quite honest. This is the type of person who get up here and talk crazy to us. Reason being, because he's a Nigerian woman who really doesn't have foundational Black American friends. I bet you this woman has more white friends than she does FBAs. Let's just keep it a buck.
And on a piece of string cheese, you pull at it. And then you do that again, and you do that again, and you do that again. What's going to happen in the end? What will be left? I feel like a lot of what we do is so counterintuitive and counterproductive.
Oh, and the other thing I can't help but notice, her colors, she's in pink. I don't see any green, but maybe she's the green, representing the green here in this situation. But another thing that these tethers will do is come in the midst of the spaces to where you're getting sororities, being able to get into fraternities and sororities and whatnot. And these folks come around and take advantage of that under the guise of being blackness, or under the guise of blackness. But now look at here, over at Howard and all of these other HBCUs, they're over here talking about taking over. So again, ma'am, when you're talking about all of this, we this, then why is there a Nigerian celebration at Howard University? So let's not talk about, if we dissect Miss Me, that's BS. The problem is we have delineated, and a lot of y'all don't have green cards. You come over here and get your college education and really still you're not even legally allowed to be here. Just keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, there's that. But, I think one of the major issues with people like this, when you hear people like this always trying to come out here and tell black folks what we should be doing, and we shouldn't be separating our people and we don't share a history. The history with us and Nigerians is Nigerians were the last two slave ships carrying black Americans, who are now known as foundational black Americans, to America. And you're talking conquered tribes in exile. Who has a reason to go seek these people out? You sought them out here, the free ones, still sought them for bondage. Now, again, if you go back to the understanding of black folks ruling in Europe for so long, see, there's a reason why these people never want to talk about that. Why? It's because the hand that they had in dismantling that particular group of black folks. And subsequently, black people just magically appeared as slaves in America. But now, instead of talking about that period of 1,000 years in Europe, let's jump over all of that and let's go all the way back to ancient Africa and look at our ancient ties. And see, we're all one, and we all come from the DNA of the first found black woman of the continent of Africa. Okay. But then, and with that truth, then so does everyone else on the planet. So if you're saying you found Eve, whatever you want to call her, and everybody comes from this being, well, then you could label that to every group of people on this planet. Why is it the nameless tribe whose history was stripped, whose language was stripped, whose God was stripped, all of a sudden have family members from everywhere around the diaspora? How did that happen? I would like an African to answer that one. We have been in this situation for so long and been alone. All of a sudden, we got family from everywhere. It's almost like what they say about when you hit the lottery, isn't it? One can say, I've been saying it from day one, why they want to be over here. Have I not? I absolutely have. And one thing you have to understand, we know what we know and we call it how we call it. And these people see what the grassroots over here have produced. They see the movement and the energy and the power that we come with. And we see that even in the midst of being in the face of our oppressors, we will stand boldly and proclaim our position. And all of these people have fled. Haven't seen what we have seen, haven't survived what we have survived, but yet they fled. And a lot of them have had contempt and disrespect for us and our lineage and our heritage, and we have said no more. And now that they see us delineating, pushing for reparations, making a difference, changing the regime of the Democrats who forever were pushing all of these tethers down our throats, they see the writing on the wall, and it starts right here. with foundational Black American freedmen telling all of the diaspora and the rest of the world, hashtag hands off our reparations.
You have no rights here. We're not under the empire.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. So this has been a beatzillapdx official news break, talking about this African woman here, and speaking on us yet again, having her opinion, which is fine, but nonetheless, speaking on us out of turn, shall we say, because at the end of the day, foundational Black Americans are the barometer of what is going to be going forth out here as an agenda for Black America, leading with ourselves, which is something that a lot of people don't like, because they have been used to being able to use us as a stepping stool to get their agenda off while we just get left behind. But no more. We are no longer playing the mule. This is about us, and this is about us, and again, yet again, about us. So please like and share this video. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at beatzillapdx. And this, of course, has been a news break. Peace, power, blessings, and protection be up on each and every one of you that are down with this channel and down with the agenda of reparations. I appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, family, stay black, stay vigilant, stay alive. Black first, black first, black first. Shalom, y'all.